What's going on, everyone? So we got an update in regards to Final Destination Bloodlines. The release date is going to be May 16th, 2025. So we got an official release date, finally, for Final Destination Bloodlines. Now, look, Final Destination franchise is a beloved franchise. I love Final Destination. I know many people do as well. This will mark 25 years since the original first Final Destination film came out in the year 2000. So now we have a 25-year anniversary style film. It actually came out March 17th, 2000. So little over 25 years, which is great, right? Like, you're seeing that with a lot of these nostalgia horror franchises, right? Like Scream's approaching 30 by the time that comes out. And then, you got like I Know What You Did Last Summer. You got all of these classic horror franchises that are coming back and creating these new style films. And Final Destination Bloodlines, this is the one that we've all been waiting for. I mean, they have talked about this film literally for like 10 years now, right? The last Final Destination film came out in what, like 2009, something like that? 2010, somewhere like that, right? Like, it is crazy that we've waited this long. And there have been so many different, or it came out in 2011 was when the Final Destination 5 came out, right? We have had so many different iterations of this Final Destination. Like, originally it was supposed to be like EMT workers and, and then there was like literal like protest about the idea and stuff. I talked about it like 2 years ago now on this channel. Like, this was something that was just like, it felt was in purgatory for so long, and it finally got developed. And we even got from Craig Perry, a little kind of post. After a long, hard slog through the pandemic and the strikes, day one is finally in the can. 2025 will mark the 25th anniversary of the release of the first installment in the franchise. To honor the occasion with another worldwide theatrical release, in IMAX no less, is a rare and wonderful thing. I'm wholly grateful for the opportunity and humbly appreciate the sublimely talented team that has worked so hard to bring this to life. See you next year. P.S. I know, Pet Cemetery Bloodlines, but this is the title we've had for 3 years, and we're keeping it for now, is what he says. So, obviously, maybe that changes. Also, we got this image of Final Destination Bloodlines, the director's chair and all that stuff. And again, I'm excited to see how this goes. Now, there are a lot of like rumors and speculation going around with this film that this could take place in between like the third and fourth film. This could, kind of almost be its own thing in a lot of ways. That, oh no, it is going to have direct tie-ins. It is going to kind of, so, again, it's a little all over the place as far as what to expect with this film and like where's the placing and stuff, which is fine. I mean, we'll find out once we get the film. There's nothing wrong with kind of keeping the mystery, right? Keeping the like what's to come with this. And I imagine if this film has success and this film does well, guess what? We'll probably get another one. Which, look, I'm all for it. Look, these Final Destination movies, you could do forever. Like, every year you could release a new movie, right? Like, just have some crazy kills, tell a interesting story, right? Like, everyone knows the deal. You all know what it is. It's just like Saw, right? Like, Saw, you go there, like, yeah, it has, you go for John Kramer and you go for the story and stuff like that, but the excitement is just like, oh, what kind of kills and how are they going to approach this? How are they going to, like, the same thing with Final Destination, right? Like, you want to see the overall story. You want to see how death is going to, play its part in taking out all these people in some, like, crazy, unrealistic, creative ways, right? Like, just like the traps, right? Like, I like the idea of, kind of keeping the party going if you can, right? Obviously, again, you have to have a good film, good script, good story. I'm curious to see how this is going to go. Curious to see how this is going to release. But Final Destination Bloodlines is the only major studio release on that date. But it will debut 2 weeks after Disney's Marvel Adventures Thunderbolts, May 2nd, and the week prior to Paramount's Mission Impossible Final Reckoning and Disney's live-action Lilo and Stitch, May 23rd. So I'm curious. So, like, kind of looks like they have this, like, week window or so, or like, like basically the first week is going to kind of tell us how this is going to go, right? Is this going to be like a hugely successful film, or is it going to have its struggles, right? Like, how is this going to go? How is this going to is this going to have great success, or is it going to be a dud? Right now, luckily, the other films that it has to compete with aren't horror, right? They're not in the horror space. So that's good, right? If it was competing with a bunch of like other horror movies and stuff, like its release date, but you're dealing with a few things, right? Like you're dealing with supposedly Animal Friends is something else that's supposed to be coming out. But the main kind of competition that you have here is the Thunderbolts, which is, Marvel, Disney, and then Mission Impossible, people that has like kind of its own audience. People either love those movies or hate those movies. But like Disney's live action Lilo and Stitch. However, like one movie is for kids. The other movie, Thunderbolts, is the one that I kind of worry about. But again, you'd already be 2 weeks into that to where I do think that this film could have success. Because like I said, I mean, I want to see it have success. I'm a fan of the franchise. I'm a fan of the films. If you can, like I said, keep the party going. If you can keep these films going, maybe it's just the sucker for nostalgia in me, right? Where it's like, I really want to see kind of how I want to see these franchises kind of get picked back up and have some success and, use modern tech and, for kills and stuff. And you can get away with a lot more now than you could even back in, 2011 or whatever. Right? I want to see this franchise kind of get back to its glory days, have some success, right? Like nothing was better than going to the theaters and seeing. I mean, how many of us are still traumatized when we see a truck with like cargo on the back, right? Like, or like you're about to go on a roller coaster and you're just like, you start having that movie play back in your mind, right? Like that's what was great about it, right? Like, you're at the gym and you're doing a bench press, you're just thinking to yourself like, there's nothing, you're like double check your surroundings, make sure there's nothing that can just crush you, right? Like those are the things that you love. Those are the things that really kind of call back and tie in, and as somebody that grew up with that franchise, right? For the fact that, we're 25 years in, you got all these. I mean, I'm not like, I say it all the time, like there's some franchises that don't need sequels, or some franchises that don't need reboots and stuff. Final Destination is one of those ones that it's fine, right? Like, because each film, they had like their silly tie-ins or whatever at the end, but for the most part, they were all kind of their own thing. They were all their own story with different kills. Like, again, Final Destination is one of those things where you can just do it forever. You can just keep going, keep making the films, keep telling the stories. And it's cool. It's awesome. I do. I think that you can. I want to see them keep going. I think this is one of the few franchises where it's like, no, like I can totally see you bringing them back. I can totally see you wanting to continue this going, right? So that's just me. But as always, last question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? Do you like the idea of them kind of bringing the franchise back? And if Part 6 has success, do you want to see them kind of keep making these, keep pumping these movies out? Let's see what we can do with this franchise and how far we can go with this, right? Like, I mean, I like that they have kind of these like new titles and stuff. And like, I wouldn't even mind if they did like, even like a trilogy, right? Like where they all tie in together. Like it's established that they're all tied in together, where it's rather than like at the end, it's like, oh, this one goes in, like, the timeline can kind of be a little all over the place. I'd like a little more structure. I just think if this film has success, I think maybe we can get that. Because, I mean, look, this isn't a franchise that every year we've gotten one for the last, 15 years. This is a franchise that essentially has been dead for the last 10 plus years. Like I said, this Bloodlines film was rumored to be coming out literally 10 years ago. Right? Like, I mean, I made a video probably 3 years ago about it gaining some traction and maybe around the corner. And then it just fizzled out and died. I mean, this has been in the works, been dead and re-dead. And then, granted, to be fair, this was supposed to kind of start gaining some traction back in 2020. And then the pandemic and everything. But I don't know. I'm all for it. I hope it goes that way. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. So again, let me know however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, love to hear it down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.